Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Sasha Annamercy's Diary. In today's video, I'm bringing you guys a brand new series of how to migrate from your country. I mean, especially if you're like coming from Africa and you don't know what to do with your life and you want to come abroad, but it's tight in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? So stay tuned and find out one of the ways that you can easily move from your country to a country abroad. When I'm talking abroad, I'm talking about the Western countries. So you're migrating to like Europe or maybe even Asia and America. So let's get into the video. Right. As you might have noticed from the title of this video is today we are focusing on what is an au pair, right? If you follow me like on my Instagram, you probably wondered like what is this child doing in Germany, you know? And I was an au pair before I am doing what I'm currently doing now, which is an Ausbildung, which is like an internship, like a work study internship. But we will get into that in later videos. Right, let me just introduce you a little bit into the series. What we're doing with this series is it's going to be a bolt of quick, specific, on point information on various things to do, or like right now we're doing au pair, so it's going to be a couple of videos that speak specifically to being an au pair, and then I'm obviously going to narrow it down and focus on au pairing in Germany, which is something that I personally did. Right, so I feel like I've explained most of what the whole target or like the whole point of this videos are going to be. So let's just get into it. Right. I have with me my old notebook. I love this notebook so much. It has every little thing you can think of, right? So today we are focusing on au pairing. So I'm just going to be looking down at my notes and talking with you guys as well. So, right, first of all, you might ask yourself, what is au pair? I mean, you hear about au pairing, you see people living their best lives as au pair in Europe. I mean, first I went to like France, I went to Switzerland, I was living my best life. But what exactly is an au pair? Some people want to call au pair like a fancy nanny or yeah, something like that. But actually, officially, is somebody who comes from a different country to come and take care of children in a specific household, and whilst also helping with light household chores in exchange for learning about the culture, the language, as well as a little pocket money. Yeah, now we'll get into the whole financial business a little bit later because finances are quite specific and quite sensitive, so to say. But at the end of the day, you will be getting paid, so to say, for your au pair year. I hope that gives you a little bit insight into au pairing. Right. Now, when you're talking about minding the children, we're not talking about waking up every day at 6 a.m. like you are the mother of the child, if you know what I'm saying. We're not talking about you waking up every day from 6 a.m. until the child goes to bed at 9 p.m. Now, that will be what a au pair is like you work for specific hours of the day. So different countries, different rules, right? But you do not work more than a 45-hour week, if that makes sense. So it can be an 8-hour day for 5 days a week, or it can be 6 hours a day for 6 days a week, whichever the math is. But an au pair week will always be from 30 hours to 45 hours, depending, of course, on the country and in total on the agreement that you have with your family. Now, when you're talking light household chores, we're talking about from doing the dishes, like if somebody cooks, you do the dishes, or if you cook, somebody does the dishes, right? But you only do stuff that has you involved or the child involved. So you're not going to just cook for the mom and the dad because, well, you know, unless if you guys have obviously agreed on it. So everything boils down to the agreement. Now, I'm sort of derailing. let me stick to the point. Now, I've told you what an au pair is, right? So let's get into what you need to become an au pair. First and foremost, you have to have a love for children, right? The reason why you have to have a love for children is the core basis of you being an au pair is you be minding a child that is under the age of 16 years, right? It can be from a baby, literally like 2 weeks old, right, to a 16-year-old child. That's one of the things that you need to have. You need to have love for children, and it is very much recommended to have experience in child caring or child minding, in that area of life. Um, Now, experience can be broken down into like a lot of different things. So we'll get into that video like later on. Like right now, I'm just giving you like the little tips and information that you need to give you insight on what we'll get into depth with later on. And obviously, you need to have a core language. So if you're moving to a country like Germany or France, you need to have some form of level of language for the country that you're going to, because it's probably going to be your main language of communication. Now, if you're moving to a country like England or USA, you're going to need to have a basis of English language. Now, I mean, if you're coming from Africa, you probably already speak like a lot of English, right? But you still need to provide a certificate to prove that your English language is actually appropriate or good enough. But that again varies per country. Now, the next thing that you might also need to figure out is a visa. One of the requirements of being an au pair, especially like if you're coming like into Europe and stuff like that, you need to have a visa. When you're going to any specific country, you need to know the visa requirements for that country. And various countries have specific au pair visas, right? Like Germany has a German au pair. I think all of Europe has like an au pair visa for Europe, right? And you have countries like America, they have like the famous J1 visa. So various countries have various specific au pair visas that you can make use of in order to au pair in that country, right? And then there are some countries that do not require a visa, depending on how long your au pair is going to last for. Now, if you're au pairing, the duration is normally between 6 months to 24 months, depending on the country that you're going to. Some countries only take a maximum of 12 months. You cannot go beyond that. And some countries do not take a minimum of below 6 months or 9 months. So those are all things that you need to put into consideration when you're looking at au pairing. And some countries actually say that you cannot au pair in your country of origin. And you cannot au pair for a family that has roots outside of the country that you're coming to au pair in. So for example, if you're coming to au pair in Germany, you need to come and au pair for a German stemming family, right? And you cannot be German au pairing in German. You need to be like France. I mean, what am I saying? You need to be like French, or you need to be like Zimbabwean, like I am, you need to be outside of Germany. But you find a country like South Africa, you can actually be an open South Africa and be South African. And that leads me to the next point. Various countries have various requirements, and various families have also various needs and requirements. So that brings us to the point of you need a driver's license. Now, a driver's license is like a necessity in some countries, and in some countries it's not a necessity. I did my au pair and I did not have a driver's license. I still don't have one to date. And it was later determined that we could have put it to use, but it would have probably been like once a week or so. So it wasn't like the main point of need for that family. So again, it boils down to the family that you find and what they require and what you have to offer, right? And then another need that you have to have is a criminal record. You should not have a criminal record. Like, you should be very clean. I mean, I don't really think people will do a background search on you, but you do need to give your word for it. And remember, you're also going to work with children, so a criminal record is something that is quite sensitive. And it's obviously if you disclose, I don't know how it will work, but it's sort of required, especially if you're going to work with an agency. You should not have, they will literally say do not have a criminal record. And now the other thing is, if you don't disclose that you have a criminal record and then your family later finds out that you have a criminal record, they won't trust you with their child anymore. So if you do have one, I'd say disclose. And I mean, that is if you're looking for a family alone, like by yourself and without the use of an agency, right? Now that I started talking about an agency, the other point would be, in order for you to open a country, you might be able to do it alone on yourself, or you might need to use the services of an agency. Like, for example, I think America, most of the people that go, they go with an agency, obviously depending on the country that you're coming from. And then there's countries like in Europe where you can come without an agency alone. But I'll go into depth with that in a different video, right? And the other thing that you need to have is no spouse or dependents, so no children, no marriage, you know. I personally do not know the reason for that, but then again, there are some countries that take couples for an au pair, you know. So again, it genuinely depends where you're coming from and where you're going. And one thing I would definitely advise you is do not be shy to say exactly what you are or like exactly what you have, going into trying to find an au pair family or going into the whole au pair business. One thing that people like abroad are very appreciative for is honesty, and just don't be afraid to speak your mind. Okay. And obviously the biggest thing, I'll say this a whole lot of times, is you need a family. You need a host family in the country that you're going to au pair for. So you cannot become an au pair if you do not have a family that you're going to au pair to, if that makes sense. You know, I think that's like the most common thing. So you need a family with children, or at least one child to begin with. And you need to decide for yourself how many children you're willing to take care of. But we'll get into family business a little bit later on. And the last thing that you need to look at is obviously which country you would like to go into. And with the country thing, it's quite specific, or it's also depending on what you're looking for. Like, what are your requirements? Like, are you going to au pair for 1 year and go back to your country to study, or are you going to au pair to integrate into a studying space in that country, or are you going to au pair as a way of learning that language in that country better so that you can work later on? Do you have a degree? Do you not have a degree? Those are all things that you need to take into consideration when trying to find a country to au pair for. Right now, I hope that gives you sort of an insight into what an au pair is and what you need for an au pair. So make sure you stay tuned to my YouTube channel and find out in the next video which are the best countries to au pair for. In that video, I'll be taking you through which countries are like the best or are considered by the au pair community as the best, and why they are considered to be the best. That will help you sort of start your process into wanting to be an au pair. And like I mentioned, later on we'll be delving into au pairing in Germany, because at the end of the day, that is what I have most in-depth information on. Although I did look at various other countries, so I'll also be giving you a little bit of information on those countries. So stay tuned. Be sure to follow me on my socials at Sasha_Annamercy for more information on the entire moving abroad journey without spending a lot of money or without spending any money, and you're still getting paid for it. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And see you in the next video. For me, Sasha Annamercy, much love and take care.